Good morning, everyone. I will officially call the March 18th, 2021 Public Safety Subcommittee meeting to order. And if we could all rise and join the chief in leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
United States of America,
The Republic for
and
which
to the
it
republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Happy day after St. Patrick's Day. It is nice to see everybody's bright, shining face. As you'll see, I wanted to make sure that we kept the festivities going. All right, Maria, do we have any public comment? I did not receive any.
We do not have any public comment, Sean, but I was also thinking we could do a quick welcome to Jim, our new assistant EMD. I think this is his very first meeting with us. I hope I've got that right, but welcome. Really glad to have you on board.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I apologize, Jim, for not introducing you. Welcome.
It's okay. Thank you.
You'll find this is an extremely, as you know, professional group, but we like to have fun and enjoy our time together, as we do spend a fair amount of time together here.
Good.
All right. We have approval of the minutes from February 18th. Questions, concerns, comments, objections, enhancements, or changes? And that's the extent of my vocabulary. So, all right, hearing none, those minutes will stand. And we will move right to the Farmington Valley Health. Jennifer, are you with us this morning? All right, Maria, do you have the latest from the?
Yeah, I do have some stats that I can share with folks this morning. So I'll jump right in, and then we can loop back, I guess, to them if they're able to join us this morning. But really good news to report from this time last month. We were at the red alert status on the municipal COVID alert system last time we met, and we've now dropped from red to orange. We're now down to yellow, which means that we have more than 5 positive cases, but less than 10 cases per 100,000 residents. So in just a month's time, we've really started to make some good trends downwards in terms of the positive cases that we are seeing. I do have data for the most recent 2-week period ending March 6th. We currently have 7.4 cases per 100,000 people. That's down from this time last month of 20.6 cases. So a really good drop, really good, again, trending downwards. Our positivity rate was 1.5% for those people being tested, which was down from 3.2% this time last month. We had 26 cases over the most recent 2-week period, which was down from 72 when we met last month. So again, really big drop there. For some vaccination information, we have some preliminary data from the state ending March 8th. And we had just over 25% of our population, or a little over 6,500 of our Simsbury residents, have received at least the first dose of the vaccine. And that's up from 12% last month. 94% of people in town over the age of 75 have had at least their first dose, as well as 88% of our residents between the ages of 65 and 74. We just updated some information on our website regarding testing locations, as well as vaccination sites that are within about a 25-minute drive of our community. So again, we put that out through social media. That is on our website for folks who are looking for places to go. And I'm happy to report we did see that the Walgreens in Simsbury is actually a vaccination site. So we wanted to be sure to share that. And then beginning the week of April 7th, the Farmington Valley Health District is going to be holding a weekly vaccination clinic here at our library. So very happy to be hosting them here in town. We were really fortunate during the month of February, and our workforce largely remained healthy. We had 5 staff members who were quarantined, but no positive staff member cases during the month of February. And through the middle of March, we had 1 staff member quarantined and 2 staff member positive cases. We are continuing to welcome walk-in visitors to Town Hall and the library during some limited hours. As of the week of April 5th, the library is expanding their walk-in hours on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays to their pre-COVID hours. So those will be back to full days of sort of normal business hours and normal operation. And then here at Town Hall, you may recall we are alternating days with the library, so our facilities staff can keep up with their very vigorous cleaning protocols. And we are also working on expanding our hours for Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, hopefully for that first week in April as well. All of our other parks facilities remain open at this time. And just a reminder, we do ask folks that even if you are outdoors, if you can't maintain social distancing, to please wear a mask. Our senior center does remain closed until further notice with limited services. We are working on seeing, if we might be able to have a change in that in the near future. And as a reminder, we are still not accepting cash payments at this time until further notice. And that concludes my report for this morning.
Thanks, Maria. Any questions for the town manager? Just a very brief update on the budget. So the town manager's budget was approved by the Board of Selectmen with some minor additions, I think is probably the best way to characterize it, right, Maria? And within that, substantial number of public safety and public works related capital items. In particular, the traffic calming over on Notch and West Mountain is currently recommended funding, and then the police vehicles, some additional training, right, Chief? And then we moved up the public safety virtual simulator into this year's funding. So had a good meeting with the Board of Finance the other night, and it seems that all of those public safety and public works items should receive support as we move forward. So I think that's a good thing. We've got a little bit of work to do to review revenues and perhaps some expenditures, but I don't predict that will impact anybody on this call at this point. So there's a lot more to the budget, but items relative to, I think, this group, I think, we're in good shape, obviously, as the Board of Finance, I think, appreciates the value that all of you bring to keeping our community safe. So no pushback there. But if there are any questions, or if folks had or heard anything about the budget, would welcome those if you had them now, or if you wanted to talk about them offline. Either's fine. All right. Emergency management. We got Mike.
Yes, good morning, everybody.
There he is.
I'm talking to you by phone today, out in the field, so I'll do the best I can here. We're going to start off with the COVID. Maria already alluded to it, that Simsbury is going to be happy to start getting the clinic back into town, and we'll be working with the Farmington Valley Health District to make sure that we get the clinic at the library, and we're looking to push several hundred people through a day. And now that we're opening up the vaccinations to a lot of younger groups, there's going to be a lot more people coming through from all age groups. So we're looking to, be one of the hubs for the Farmington Valley Health District to get the vaccinations rolling for as many people as possible. We continue to operate under the state of emergency for the town, and we continue to operate and put out a incident action plan for every single week. And that'll help with the funding when the money starts coming down for us for the COVID relief. That'll help out with doing that. The emergency managers, myself and Jim, continue to attend and listen to webinars and conference calls. We're getting the latest information from the state and from the Department of Public Health, which they've been very good with information coming forward. Jim and I have been monitoring the weather events we've been having recently with the windstorms and the other events we've been going on. The communication with Eversource has been absolutely fantastic. I commend you, Mark, if you're on this call. I commend you and thank you for all the communications prior to the storm and during the storm and post-storm. However, we do seem to be continuing to have a problem with the other services outside of Eversource, and I am working towards getting better communication with them so we can have the same communication prior to, during, and after the storms to make sure that we get our residents back up and running with their Frontier, Comcast, and other services, make sure that we get those going. We'll be looking into, Jim and I will be working with you guys, looking into tabletop grills coming up. We've had a couple suggestions recently, such as the seasonal weather events that we normally have, and also looking into cybersecurity. These will be quick drills to go over our emergency operations plans make sure that the plans are up to date. And if there's any changes need to be done, we'll make sure that they get done. And that's my report for this month.
Appreciate that, Michael. Any questions for emergency management? Jim, anything to add or clean up on what Mike said? We always got to make sure we keep him in line, right?
No, Mike did a fantastic job as usual.
There you go. All right. Mike, I was just giving you a hard time, buddy. You do a great job. And hope all is well out there in the field. Chief, Police Department.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Just a real quick update for COVID-19. We had one isolation that was required since our last meeting. So sort of on that front, we're doing fairly well. I think I had let the group know that we had hired Sean Crowley back in January. He was an officer for a short time in Torrington. So he came to us in the very beginning of January. He has made it through his field training and evaluation program here, and he has been released within the last couple of weeks. So if you see him around town, please feel free to engage with him. Very, very nice young man who brings a lot of talents here with him. On a very similar note, we hired Eric Papalarzik. He has spent a couple of years with the Hartford Police Department. He joined us the first week of March. So he's currently in his field training and evaluation program now, and we expect that he'll be out in about 6 weeks or so before he's out by himself and solo. That still leaves us with 3 short for our sworn numbers. So again, if you have any person that you know who is interested, please send them to policeapp.com. Have them get in touch with us, find out what our service is all about, and we are looking to hire. Same thing with dispatch. We still have one dispatch vacancy right now, and we're in the process with one person, but nothing has been confirmed yet. So we're hoping to fill that fairly soon. I wanted to say a very heartfelt thank you to Public Works and to the fire department for assisting with a funeral procession earlier this week. Very much appreciated. Fantastic job, and a great and noteworthy showing for someone who certainly deserved all of that. And then one other topic. We just wrapped up our 3 days of our national or CLIA accreditation assessment on Wednesday. So normally we have assessors here for 2 or 3 days, but because of the pandemic, they have been doing these virtually. Just a brief history on this. We became state accredited in 2001. We started the CLIA national accreditation process in 2008. And after the 3-year process, we became accredited. And every 3 years after that, you have to become reaccredited. They changed that to 4 years a few years ago. So it's a slightly different cycle for us now, but all of our documentations and files showing that we are in compliance with best practices and standards are reviewed on an annual basis. And then every 4 years, the assessors sort of take a deeper look into things. So the last 3 days were filled with interviews, and not just of members from the department, but members from other town agencies and the community. And it went extremely well. It went as we had assumed that it would, because each year we get some very positive feedback from the assessors. But just some very quick highlights on this. The assessors were very complimentary of our involvement in the community in general, our training, and then they particularly comment about the manner in which we deal with those mental health issues. So we were very, very proud to hear of the good comments from them. They will provide us with a final report in the next few weeks, and then we will be expecting a full reaccreditation in July. And that's all I have for today, unless Chief Davis has something else to add.
I just wanted to thank Maria, Sean, Chief Baldus, Mike Long, and everybody that contributed to the interview process for the reaccreditation. It's a long 3 days. There's a lot of jockeying of schedules, and obviously with a virtual format, it was much different this year than in previous years. But you all, contributed to our hopefully our successful reaccreditation, which we believe it will be. The feedback that we got from the assessors was outstanding. It really made me proud to be a part of the organization and through the town and the police department. And, having experience in other jurisdictions and working in different jurisdictions over the years, I truly am proud to be a part of this organization and the people that make it up. They do outstanding work day in, day out, and I'm really proud of the work that everybody does, and I'm just really proud to be a part of it. So thank you all again for helping us out with the endeavor. I know everybody's had busy schedules, and you all carved out time to make it a part to help us out with it, and we really appreciate it. Some of it really short notice, so like I said, I really appreciate that. So thank you.
I would agree. Mike Long, anything from the police commission side or your vantage point, sir?
Yeah, just a quickie, if I may.
Sure.
We participated in the accreditation process this year with Korea, and because we were 3 short on our staffing of sworn officers, we look for ways to try to judge right sizing, perhaps better than we've been doing. We typically look at Grandma's growth, population growth, comparison of ratio of police officers to population, various communities like Simsbury and surrounding Simsbury, and the number of calls that we get, et cetera, to try to come up with the right number. And that's worked over the years fairly well, but for the last 3 years, we've been short in our staffing as we see it and what we've recommended. So we have asked the police folks to assist us with the commission with perhaps identifying some agencies and services out there in the world which can help us determine more professionally, perhaps, right sizing of our department so that we don't, overstaff and yet don't come up short. We've had substantial population growth in the last couple of years, and it's projected a little more growth this coming year. So we will be searching out those agencies and trying to find out, what kind of costs is involved, because it won't be cheap, but at least they'll give us the assurance as we go forward and do that we are where we should be, and that the town has the police force that it should have for town size, et cetera. So we're busy on that because it is important, and we're falling a little further behind each year, and we don't want to do that. So thank you for asking for that report.
Mike, I appreciate it. Absolutely. And just from my vantage point, I did have the privilege of speaking to I think it was Captain Major out of a police department down in I believe it was North Carolina. It was a lovely individual, and obviously his passion for policing and community policing came through in the discussion. But it's always a really wonderful conversation for me to talk to folks outside that look at our police department and our community, and very quickly see it for what we try to make it, right? That it's a community that has our police officers that are part of our community in the true sense of community policing. And I know Chief Ingerson, Chief Bolter, now the police commission have worked hard for a long time to make that very much part of this community. So it's one thing for us who talk about it and are on the inside. It's another thing when an individual comes in from the outside and sees it very quickly through a lot of different discussions with a lot of different stakeholders. So, and again, both chiefs, as there was a lot of discussion and praise around the level of training and preparedness that our officers have, and that obviously it's a forefront and in the leadership and a key principle for the department to make sure that our officers are prepared for, the 28,000, 26,000 residents that we have and all the different challenges that come with it. And, Chief, you mentioned disabilities, and I think that's really important. As police departments, I think, around the country are rushing to catch up or adapt. I feel like we're already in a strong position to make sure that we're providing the right level of service for our residents, depending on, whatever situation you folks are walking into. So, that was particularly humbling for me to hear that, what we see is validated through the eyes of those that aren't necessarily part of the community. So well done.
Thank you.
All right. Any questions or other input for the police department? Okay. Do we have Karen this morning?
I'm here.
Morning, Karen.
Morning. I apologize ahead of time if my dog interjects. I seem to have some wildlife in my backyard that she doesn't approve of at the moment. I do get to keep my streak alive and report that I really have nothing new to report from SVA. We remain healthy and we still have more than adequate supply of PPE. I do need to correct a statement I made last month regarding the number of employees and volunteers that are vaccinated. I stated we were at 100%. We are in fact very close, but we do have a couple of members that are currently not vaccinated. But that doesn't affect public safety as we're still practicing the proper PPE use on all calls when we go out on 911. I do need to apologize. I do have to leave for another meeting. I appear to have double booked myself. So that's all I have for my report unless anybody has any questions.
Anybody want to ask Karen a long question to keep
Please do.
Karen, we appreciate you being here. And again, glad everybody's safe and thank you for what you do.
Oh, you're very welcome. My pleasure. You guys have a good day.
You too. All right, Chief Baldus, fire.
Yes, hi, good morning.
Morning.
Want to, again, congratulate, I know maybe a little premature, but I'm sure they will have no problem getting their accreditation for the great job that they do. And it was certainly our pleasure also to help support your efforts in honoring Matt, a very dear friend of the fire service as well as the police service. Our COVID situation continues to remain pretty stable. We are COVID free here in the department with all of our members and vaccinations for most. As you know, we do have some juniors as well, so they're not in the pool yet, but hopefully they will be soon. And again, we have pretty much most everybody that has been vaccinated that wants to be. So we're in very, very good shape. With our vaccination and also some of the opening up within the state structure, we are resuming our larger group training programs within the department. However, we are still wearing masks and also keeping distances where certainly it is possible to do so. As we head into the spring, although we may not realize that tomorrow morning, we are at a point now where we're going to start seeing a lot of spring cleanups, raking of leaves and debris and so forth. And we have to remind our residents that we do have a no open burning policy here in Simsbury. If you do want to do a campfire or an attended type of burning using a campfire setting, we do ask that you do get a permit through the fire marshal's office, and they're available through the office here. And also to remember that the permits are not valid when the fire danger is high. That information can be obtained through the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, or we do have a link off of the fire department's website to get the current fire danger. And for today's information, it is moderate actually today. The other thing that we have to remember too is, as you know, certainly the weather's been pretty windy lately. We've had some significant windstorms come through, which has caused tree limbs to come down, but more importantly, the power line situations that do in fact occur, and especially now with the drier season and leaves and brush and so forth on roadsides, the potential for a brush fire to occur as a power line comes down is even greater. And we certainly want to remember and encourage our residents to stay away from these situations. Do not try to fight that fire, especially if there's a potential of a power line being involved in that, as there increases the likelihood of danger, and we don't want anybody to get into a very bad situation there. And always consider power lines to be live at any point in time. Other than that, things are unfortunately staying fairly quiet, and we want everybody to continue to have a safe spring.
Thank you, Chief.
Jim, Jim, if I can hop in there and
Sure.
give a fire district update too, in addition to Jim's report. We are in the middle or toward the end, middle end of our budget process. We're looking at where our mill rate presently is 1.19. We may have a small increase to 1.22. We're trying to hold things in line. We do have some of our capital projects, like our addition to our training facility, is trying to come together, and we'll have better information and a better update for next month. But as of right now, we're looking at that increase from 1.19 to 1.22. And then additionally, I would also like to throw out the welcome aboard to Jim Traficante. And I know that he's already gotten his feet a little wet with that last windstorm that we had, which was good to see. And I think that between Jim and Mike, we've got a great tag team going on here. So all in the safety of the residents of Simsbury, we're in excellent shape with that team shaping up there on emergency management.
I agree.
Thanks, Gary.
Well said, Gary. And I have good news to report. I bought a generator, so we're not going to have any power outages for the useful life of that generator here in town. So once that generator craps out, we'll be in a different story, but it's brand new. So we're in good shape for a while here, guys. And just to emphasize, all joking aside, the chief's point earlier on the fire danger, there has been some small brush fires around in other communities, and I think that gets lost on folks. I know not to this team, but to the folks at home, that it is a particularly dry time of year, despite the fact that the snow is melting. So it's really important that we heed the chief's warnings there on not having any open burning out there. And if we're not sure, the weather apps will usually say when there's a high fire danger as well. So there's a lot of ways to see if that information's out there. Was there another question or comment for the fire department there? Okay. All right, moving along. Neil, you are ready to go, sir. Board of Education.
I am. We have actually quite a few celebrations to share today, in that since we were last on one of these calls, our high school students, all of them who wish to be in person for their learning, are back, and it's been a wonderful energy at the high school to have all of our students who want to be in person back for the first time in just about a year. And while we were able to achieve that goal at the elementary and middle school much earlier in the school year, to get there at the high school has been terrific. And hopefully we stay there for the remainder of this school year. The other celebration is the vaccination process that's been going on. We are very proud to have been the district that hosted the vaccination clinics for the Farmington Valley. We've been at it at the past couple of Saturdays. Henry James is the site that has hosted. So if you've seen a lot of cars coming in and out of Henry James on Saturday, that's because we've been hosting the 10 towns in the Farmington Valley. 650 shots on the first Saturday in May, and 750 shots last Saturday, with one more weekend to go in a couple of days. And then we'll repeat the whole thing in the first 3 weeks of April. And obviously, I wish she was on the call today to thank Jennifer Curtanis and her folks for just really incredible organization that has gone into that. And when all is said and done, over 2,000 educators, and by that we mean everybody associated with the education sector, from bus drivers and secretaries and custodians and coaches. It's going to be over 2,000 people that get vaccinated at Henry James. So really proud of that. And then the other news that will be shared tomorrow with the community is that given the fact that we have seen so little spread of COVID in the school setting, we've been informed by the Farmington Valley Health District that when you are a close contact identified as through the school setting, that the quarantine period is going to be reduced to 10 days instead of 14. So, they've really seen so few cases of spread in the schools that they're confident in shortening that quarantine period, which should certainly help from our end. Usually the longer quarantine period creates problems with staffing more than anything. And so that should be very helpful. And the last time I reported that our biggest staffing challenge was with actually Salters Express having difficulty being up to full staff. And fortunately, I can report on behalf of JR Salter that we are back to full force and don't anticipate any more canceled bus runs at this point. So mostly great news and good trends on the school side of things.
That's excellent news. Appreciate it, Neil. Folks, any questions on the education side? Okay. We will keep moving. Tom Roy, Public Works.
Well, good morning, everybody. I guess first to the chief, I was glad to be part of helping out with the procession for Macatania. It meant a lot to me having worked with him here, and I know all of our guys were glad that we could help too. So always good to come together, even though it was difficult circumstances. Unfortunately, this past month, we've had two of our Public Works staff members who are actually tested positive for COVID. We also had a number of staff members that were out due to quarantining, due to contact with positive folks. So we've really been challenged and stressed in being able to provide our services with limited staff. Similar to the position the chief spoke about earlier, just due to normal health issues and some vacancies, we are down significant staff in all of the divisions of Public Works right now. We are continuing to keep the buildings clean as we start to reopen and we start to add additional hours. That's additionally stressing our buildings and ground staff. They're still looking to disinfect every area in every building at least 4 times a day. We're still helping out with social services and our food distribution, which we've continued to see a large need for that. The trend with some of these windstorms is certainly concerning. I don't recall ever a winter like this where these 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts are starting to become common. The last one in particular, I think we fared pretty well considering. Want to thank Chief Baldus for working so closely with Kevin Clemens in our office on getting the communications line cleaned up from Stockade. I know that was a tremendous amount of communication for that one street. Good or bad, I think we're getting a lot of practice at this, and I think the team all works well together. And within our office here, we're actually doing a lot of work, hopefully going to be collecting our money in FEMA reimbursement from the tropical storm Isaiah. So if you have any questions.
Appreciate that, Tom. All right. I don't believe we have a social services update this morning, right, Maria?
Right, that's correct.
Okay. And so then we will move right into VNA. And I believe, Nancy, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a new title for you, correct?
Oh, good God. Yeah, but we don't really have to talk about that here.
Yeah, I like to celebrate accomplishments, and I think it's important that we make sure that given all you folks do and that you do individually, that we make sure we share that here. So you went from the executive director, correct, to the CEO?
I am the CEO now of the Farmington Valley VNA. Yes, I'm really proud of that. More than anything, I'm proud because it really kind of recognizes people in healthcare field that are held accountable to certain business standards. So for the role and the agency, I am really happy about that. So yes, thank you for that, Sean. Congratulations.
That's certainly well deserved.
Thank you.
So how is everything at the VNA?
Everything here at the VNA I will report is good. We are pretty much 98% vaccinated. We are working every week and every day, actually, with Jennifer and the health district. I can report on her behalf that gosh, as of a week ago, I think we've reached over 13,000 vaccines already given. So, you know, we're all working.
Did we lose Nancy? Oh, Nancy, I think you froze, my friend. I'm sure you were going to say that you're all working very hard, is I think what.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are. You're back.
Okay, yeah. No,
Oh.
we've given over 13,000 vaccines, so I'm happy about that.
Yep.
You know, and as much as I don't want to go on about it, I think that things are great. I think that all the restrictions are going to loosen up. I don't think we're done with the pandemic on and off for the next several years.
Yep.
So I think like we're already getting geared up for how to get ready for the next phase.
Yep.
So you know what? They're already testing doses of the vaccines as booster shots. The variant from South Africa has already come to Connecticut. I just think we have to kind of go at this with a mindset that we're not done. Things are going to get better, but we're not done.
No, and I appreciate that. That's a good reminder. But the good news is all of you folks on the call are looking at that and ahead of that. So for the rest of us, we can return to somewhat normalcy, but making sure that we're listening to the advice that you folks are all given. So, and Nancy, again, congratulations on a well-deserved promotion.
Well, and if I will just say too, you know, if at some point in time smoke rises from 15 Harvest Hill Road, it's not because we have a brush fire. It's probably because my husband's overdoing it with his new solo stove. So if you would like to arrest him and put him someplace, as long as you leave me out of it, I promise to you, I will be a good girl. But it's not me. That's all I'm saying.
We'll remember
right,
that, Nancy.
We'll leave that to the chiefs to sort out offline. But
oh my God, a guy and his toys. That's all I can say.
I can't comment. I would never play with my toys in the backyard that would cause any issues either. Which reminds me, I need to get new blades or new chains for my chainsaw. Thank you. All right. I believe poor Sarah is not feeling well this morning. I know that the Main Street community, the partnership, has been hard at work. We've all gotten lots of emails from Sarah as the evolving rounds of stimulus have come out. I know our businesses are obviously still struggling, but I think there is some light at the end of the tunnel and possible revising of restrictions. You know, the local word is that things are still challenging. The winter months, especially January, February, are not kind to businesses, especially restaurants to begin with. But that as we move into spring here and folks start getting outdoors, hopefully that will continue to help. But much like you just said, Nancy, I think our businesses are in for a continued long road as our residents are. It's not just when we flip a switch and things are back to normal. So continue to remember as best we can to help out and support our local businesses, you know, our friends and neighbors that are, you know, just trying to make a living and keep their businesses open. So whatever we can do at Shop Local, I think is important.
Sean, can I just add something about Sarah since she's not here? And I guess this is really to you, Maria. Do you think there's the opportunity for us, maybe as a committee or as a group or some, even just, I would love to be able to recognize Sarah for all of her efforts throughout this. I mean, everybody's done a ton of work, but she's just tried so hard to keep all of us connected. And anytime she can, even if it's supporting me, I would love it if we could recognize her in some way in a future meeting.
I think that's fantastic. I would agree. She's just been, you know, glue holding us all together. So I think that's a really nice suggestion. Let's figure something out.
Okay.
Chief Paul, just were you going to say something?
Yeah. With Sarah, sorry to hear that she's not feeling well, but it did remind me that she was actually instrumental in reporting an issue. I'm not sure if Mike Berry or even if Chief Bolter could comment in regards to, I guess, an issue that occurred with cellular service on the north end of town, and the fact that cellular service was not able to connect to 911 or, I guess, local landlines. But she was instrumental, I think, in helping to report some of that information to our Emergency Services Center through Mike Berry. Didn't know if anybody had a comment on that.
I have
I could, go ahead, Chief.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just a real brief comment. It was kind of coincidental. I was trying to call Sarah and it wasn't going through, and it was a rapid tone. And after trying a couple different numbers for her, finally made it through. And she had said, yeah, there was some sort of issue that she was having. And then we actually started getting some, emails and notifications about that as well. I don't know what she did at that point, but Mike, why don't you step in there?
Yeah, Sarah gave me a call and told me that there was businesses up in the north end of town, north end of Hot Meadow Street, somewhere around the Hollowells area, that they did not have any cell service. She alerted us to the fact. We started making some phone calls and passing the information around with this group, and we were able to pinpoint working with the state, that there was a problem with their Verizon tower in Granby that had gone out, and it was causing the cell service problems and also hindering people from dialing 911 and calling in emergency services. So it was great that she was able to use her resources to find out what the problem was and then start the ball rolling on our end. So yes, I commend Sarah and thank her for helping us out with that.
That's an excellent example of a true partnership coming out of this group. And I actually got the email from the state emergency management services alerting me that the Verizon 911 service was down. So start to finish, that process sounds like it worked pretty darn well, guys. So nice job. All right. Other business. Mark Massaro. I'm sorry. I always make you wait till the end, sir.
It's quite
always
right.
so patient. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I want to thank Mike and everyone's very kind comments about our level of communication over the most seems like frequent storms, but over the most recent windstorms. And we continually monitor all of these things and planning and getting staff available and so on and so forth. So, over this past weekend, for the most part, as was mentioned, Simsbury fared pretty well. Some of the neighboring towns, not so much. So we were really chasing our tail, and maybe I shouldn't use that term. We had a lot of people out on the road working their tails off overnight and into some pretty cold temperatures to get some of these things done. So we're out there working every day, trying to improve the system, keeping an eye on a lot of things. Over the last several months, I just have continued to mention for residents and businesses, we have some special payment arrangements that are being extended well out into the future to spread out any bills with Eversource that they may need help with. And I strongly encourage them to continue to contact us. The longer term payment arrangements are going to come to an end at the end of April. At least the offer of them are going to come to an end later in April. So if you are, having, or in need of help, please call us. We have the programs available. They're there to help. And reach out to our customer care group, and they will definitely, work with you to help in that regard. One other comment to kind of piggyback on, Chief Baldus is, with wires down and leaves down, please don't try to determine whether it's a power line or a phone line or a cable line. Let the professionals determine that. Keep yourself safe, stay back from that. We will be out and make that determination and work with the town, either to get our equipment back up in the air, make it safe, or, let the town know whether it's a communications wire. So, for anybody out in the community that's watching, please stay away from any down wire and let us know, or call it in through 911. Let the town know that, there's something happening and we will get it addressed.
Good reminder,
That's
Mark.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. All right. Any questions for Mark? All right. Anything else for the good of the order this morning? All right.
Hey, Sean.
Yeah. Chris, go ahead.
Hey, it's Chris. Good morning, everyone. I had a conflict at 8. Thank you. Is Neil on or Jennifer still on? And did you guys address the change of kids, the travel ban and kids quarantining negative testing results to come back into school? Did you guys address that?
I addressed the fact that the quarantine period is going to shorten but I want to stress that that's for school-based contact tracing, not for others. In terms of the travel, we are following the governor's recommendation that those are now recommendations and not requirements. So we are not pursuing any quarantines related to travel at this point.
So a student is free to travel out of state and return to school without any limitations.
That's correct.
Okay, great. Thank you. Just want to clarify.
Yep. So you and Ted can head down to Cabo for the weekend if you want to.
Well,
No. That'll be.
I'll reserve my comment. Thank you.
We'll just leave that one alone. All right. It should be mentioned. I believe our next meeting is scheduled for the school vacation week. So we're going to actually, if it's agreeable to everybody, move it to 4/22 the week after. So we'll send out a reminder there. But note your calendars for April 22nd at 8 a.m. for our next public safety meeting. And once again, thank you all for your time, all that you do, all that your teams do. Certainly not lost on anybody here. And it's important that we continue to get these messages out for the residents. So with that, we are adjourned.